Hey man, what is really going on with Dipset these days? Because now that everybody has their own podcast and their own platform, it feels like every other month Jim Jones and Camron are back at it again. And more often than not, it's over the same stuff. It's always somebody trying to flip or rewrite the narrative about something that went down in the past involving them. Jim Jones recently sat down for an interview on the No Rap Cap podcast, and make sure y'all check out their channel and watch that full interview. Now, during this conversation, while he was talking about Harlem and Big L, Jim Jones went out of his way to claim that Camron was scared of Big L's brothers. And listen, here's exactly what he said.
Dame impact in Harlem was nothing. Not to say it like that. Dame came up under hustlers that impact was it. He was a little dude when it came to hustling in Harlem. He wasn't not no Rich Porter, none of that type of. He wanted to hustle. He wanted to hustle for niggas like Rich Porter and shit like that. Dame from the East Side. The East Side is different from the West Side. Now for the East Side, Dame was a big deal to us because we were little. He was coming from the West Side, little car, jewelry, and all that. So when you're young, he's looking like Rich Porter, but in reality, he was like, just go to the store, take a couple grams, get out of here.
The Rap Cap Podcast.
When you cancel out the street side of it and go into the music business of it, what was his impact with Dipset at that time?
He didn't have no impact with Dipset. Dipset, we made our impact on our own.
When y'all came over to Rockefeller, did y'all bring a certain energy that kind of ruffled the feathers of like state property and people like that?
No, when we came over to Rockefeller, it was all love. Everybody in the studios doing music, state property, Bleak and diplomats. Everybody was doing music. That shit ain't started until they went through all that damn shit.
The Joel said Cam took over the rock, huh?
I mean, Mace was talented. He was a dancer. And Mace didn't excel at the rapping really to after high school they started getting on and shit like that, and then he excelled and then started getting on first and signed first, and then now help Cam and everybody get on and shit like that. But as far as making a name for themselves in the street, nobody had no name in the street like that.
Big L.
Right. Big L had a name for himself. He was rapping early. He was signed early. He had some dangerous ass brothers. They was uptown, really shaking and moving and shit like that. You dig? And that's not my part of town. That was uptown. You dig? Yeah, Cam used to be scared to death of them niggas to the point he didn't want to come outside. I didn't understand it because I'm from downtown. You heard?
Now, based on what we publicly know, Cam has always been well respected in Harlem. Obviously, him and Big L came up together. They were part of a group called Children of the Corn. Mace was in that group. McGruff was in that group too. Now, whether Cam was actually terrified of Big L's brothers, I'm gonna leave that to the real Harlem folks to sound off in the comments. But after watching Jim Jones low-key try to talk down on him in that interview, Cam clearly said, all right, enough is enough. And he took it straight to Instagram to fire back at Jim Jones. Cam posted saying, yo, how you worried about me when your heat's off and your rent's due? I heard it was 7 degrees in the Bronx last night. Hold up. First of all, this is insane. How and why does Camron know that Jim Jones's heat was off at his podcast studio? That's the part that caught my attention. Jim jumps into the comments and shoots back telling Cam, yo, go do your shoot, punk. Cam wasn't done though. He comes right back and says, what's wrong, Capo? Are you hot too? I know it's hate to be 50 years old with no heat. Watch your zeal, bro, I got you. Then he adds, A-Block knows you soft. Cam follows that up with, yeah, but my husband and I are warm. You are 50 years old, tough and cold. And then he doubles down, dead serious. But dead ass though, Capo, your heat really off? And it keeps going. Jim Jones responds again, telling Cam, yo, you soft. Your whole crew is soft. And this is where it starts getting a little wild. Jim says, you want to play? Pull up. Let the people see how soft you are, chump. Cam responds with even more jokes. He says, Jomo, you're 50 and still talking about pull up? I got the video of you breaking into your own studio trying to trigger the heat system and chasing your landlord in his car because he wants his rent. Nah, ain't no way. Ain't no way, bro. You were 50. Go pull up on that heat bill. And now I gotta ask, why do people know Jim Jones's business like this? This is the second person who's told us this man didn't pay his rent. Who keeps leaking this info to 15 Cent and Cam? Nah, that's crazy. If I'm Jim Jones, I'm daring Cam to post that video. I need to know who sent me a clip of me trying to turn my heat back on and chasing my landlord. That's way too specific to just be made up. I'm sorry, this is evil. Jim Jones has a mole in his podcast studio, and that needs to be addressed immediately. Now 50 Cent jumps in too, because of course he does. He says, "Damn, I hope y'all can all chip in and get the heat back on." Then he adds, "Damn, Jim is mad with all this pressure. I hope he's all right." Cam is laughing. Somebody says maybe they can start a fire and all stand around it. Listen, 50 Cent has to be top 2 instigators walking the planet, and he's not number 2. Now, as funny as all this is, and trust me, this is hilarious, at a certain point, if you're Jim Jones and Camron, this is really just content. We already know how this goes. Jim is going to go back on Let's Rap About It and address it, because that's how they've been handling stuff lately. And if you're Cam, this is content for you too. Cam is going to go sit with Mace, maybe bring in a mutual friend to confirm he wasn't scared of Big L's brothers, and that's going to bring views. These dudes are not pulling up on each other. There's no squabble coming. It's not happening. And let's be clear, Cam knows exactly where Jim Jones records. He knows where the studio is. So no, this isn't street beef. This is straight-up entertainment. Obviously, if you're a longtime Dipset fan, this isn't what you want to see. Nobody wants to see these two going at each other like this. But at this point, you got to accept reality. These two are never going to be cool. So if you rock with Jim, go support Jim. If you rock with Cam, go support Cam and his podcast. And if you're neutral, sit back and enjoy the show. Now let me ask you all this. Are you concerned that people know this much about what's going on inside Jim Jones's podcast studio? Because it's gotta be the landlord leaking this information. Ain't no other way. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch y'all later, man.